All right, everybody, it's Steve with Real Progressives. Tonight, we're talking about the insanity that has been put on us to make us believe absolutely unbelievable things. Over and over again, we have been forced to completely disregard reality, shove everything that's in our face out of our face, completely try to embrace a false narrative or go crazy trying to make sense of all the incongruent lies. And then, on top of it, the people that couldn't handle the truth getting angry at us, trying to shut us down, trying to push us out of the way. And now you see it once again with the arrest of Julian Assange. You see over and over again the right people are in jail. Excuse me. No, the wrong people are in jail. The right people are running for office. The right people are elected for office. Who could even know? You look at Malcolm X. Malcolm X said, if you're not careful, pretty soon the media is going to make you think that the bad guys are the good guys and the good guys are the bad guys. And they've got you so screwed up. They got us all screwed up. They got us all screwed up. And I'm telling you, so tonight I sat there and I thought to myself, everybody's talking about Julian Assange, and rightfully so. Now, there are a few politicians out there, some that I happen to care for very much, that have stayed largely quiet on the subject. That's disappointing. There's no getting around it. But it's not a deal breaker because, quite frankly, everybody doesn't carry every one of these issues. And this is the problem. This is the problem. They use this stuff, which is important stuff for us anyway. They use the very things that are important to us as tools against us to get us to unfocus ourselves on the things that really matter. How do they do that? Your guess is as good as mine. It's a repetitive cycle. Over and over again, we are gaslit out of reality. And we can be shepherded here and shepherded there in a blink of an eye. It's not funny, but it is funny. So what I decided to do was to take kind of like a poking fun at this, to try to make heads or tails of it. So I hope that within that spirit you'll understand that I'm absolutely out of my mind upset with the fact that we don't have real transparency in our media. And that when we present the truth, not just we, but others present the truth, oftentimes people are genuinely angry at them for telling the truth because it shatters their safe, secure view of the world. Now, for me, personally, I have had the toughest time shaking this weird nagging feeling that I think many of us have had since back during the 2015-2016 primaries, when Hillary literally looked like a zombie up there on the platform, had no coherent message, was snarky, had a shitty voice, looked like a freaking bougie woman that she was, and somehow or another won the primary? I don't think so. And it didn't make sense to anybody else either. So here we are, heading into 2020 primaries. We're already seeing the same stuff over and over again, you know. And it's like part two, you know, whether it be Biden, whether it be Kamala Harris, whether it be some other lame-o from the establishment. We know that we are going to get hit repeatedly with this gaslight, this lie. And I remember watching Assange being arrested and pulled out, and he's holding Gore Vidal picture as he's pulled out, and, you know, all this stuff going through your head. The reality is, they tried to make it about the way he got his sources, that they tried to coerce Chelsea Manning, that he somehow or another was trying to help him do espionage. I mean, the claims are all over the place. And people have conflated it, of course, with just journalism and so forth. And others have tried to make it bigger and stronger and faster and different things. But at the end of the day, there's so few people telling the actual truth about what happened that the world is sitting there with their heads spinning. You got some people celebrating this, celebrating Julian Assange being arrested. For what? I'll tell you what. They still believe in the Russian story. And so, I started thinking to myself, what does an evil person really want? And I just kept coming up with this idea that if I put it to song, or if I put it to a dance, maybe it would be something.
Look, we came, we saw, he died. We came, we saw, he died.
Look, we saw more damage just running for president. Did more damage. We saw having stolen right? And Julian Assange did I think that with the list of reading their damn news. By literally sitting there and pointing out who the hell these people are. I mean, it just ultimately really comes down to what is it you want to believe? And unfortunately, Democrats of the corporate variety wanted to believe that Hillary was good. They wanted to believe that we weren't being lied to. They wanted to believe that we, in fact, had choices. They wanted to believe that their gal won fair and square. But what they didn't want was the truth, because when the truth started coming out, you had a lawsuit that was thrown out. Why it was thrown out, your guess is as good as mine. But when the dealer is the one sitting there holding the cards and dealing the cards, chances are the dealer's going to win and the house is going to win. Chances are the people are going to lose. And the people don't have time to invest, so they want to accept whatever narrative comes out. And that narrative, no matter how disturbingly not possible it is, no matter how completely screwy it is, they will believe it. And if you all remember, I go back and I
Trump, Putin, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian sort of collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, metal collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, potentially collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, bot collusion. Trump, Russian collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Russian hacked our election. Here comes a big change. Because all of a sudden, Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russians, collusion.
Collusion with the Russians. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Prove collusion. Prove collusion.
I can assure you.
Was there collusion?
Absolutely.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion. 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 Trump, Russia, potential collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion.
And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion and Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion. This president in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion. This president in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion.
All 17 intelligence agencies.
17 agencies.
17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed.
17 different United States intelligence agencies.
17 of them.
You've got this stuff going on, and then what do we got? We got nothing. We got Bernie Sanders running for president, and half the progressives out there are still trapped in believing he's not the real deal. While the rest of us are fighting for a Green New Deal, they've got us spread 1,000 ways to Sunday, and it's by design. It's by design. I mean, look, Howie Hawkins is probably a really swell guy, but he's about as riveting as watching paint dry. And you can be as wonky as you want to be. And I'm telling you right now, I've read the stuff from his platform. It's not that bad. There's enough wonky stuff in there to make me go, why'd you have to do that? What were you trying to prove? Were you just trying to be weird so you can keep the weird people excited? There's just enough wonky shit in there to make you go, eh. But Bernie Sanders is the real deal. And people are checking out because of all the gaslighting that occurred. The good news is that Real Progressives have been covering all these Bernie Sanders events. And you see time and again, the crowds are huge. Again. And I'm watching people slowly but surely come around because they realize the alternative isn't progressive at all. And they know Bernie has been doing this for 40 plus fucking years. So what's the deal? Why is this a problem? I'll tell you why it's a problem. Julian Assange, the big thing he did was embarrass DC. He embarrassed the establishment by pointing out the insanity, by showing what they actually did. And by showing this through Chelsea Manning, what our military did abroad. By showing people laughing as they wipe out people. That is incredibly disturbing. And if you're not disturbed by that, then I don't know what would disturb you, right? I mean, the things that were brought out were criminal. This is chilling, not so much just for journalism and for investigative journalism and the methods and procedures by which we secure an interview or information to break a investigative story. But it's also really, really sickening and bad for whistleblowers. People that have seen something truly awful happening. And the price they have to pay, going back to Snowden and others, is exile, is completely being shredded, trashed, treated like garbage. But then you have Hillary Clinton, who still finds a way to pop her nasty ass head out of the covers, out of the shadows, just to say, I'm still here. These people really, really destroyed our confidence in democracy. Their crime is severe. The crime they did far exceeds showing actual documents, far exceeds showing actual emails, far exceeds anything that Julian Assange did. And the people that fanned the Russian narrative did far more to harm America because they brainwashed so many lemmings out there that were just desperate to believe anything but the truth. And the truth was the DNC put forward the worst candidate ever. That we're done with neoliberalism. That we're done with these establishment corporate Democrats that have eliminated any potential of a left-wing revival. They have destroyed our confidence in our institutions. And folks, I despise the Republican Party. I mean, seriously, think about the dumbness, the dumb stuff that they do as it pertains to things like climate change, bringing a fucking snowball in, and all the stupid crap they did trying to denigrate a Green New Deal. Folks, these are not good people. Let's be fair. They are disingenuous liars of the highest order. I'm giving no air cover to the Republicans because they suck terrible. Do not mistake one junk sack in the Democrats for another junk sack in the Republicans. Both equally suck. Both are horrific. That said, there is an insurgency going on within the Democratic Party, but not so much in the party, so much as the people that want progress. So don't confuse party and progress. Let's look for progress where it is, because the gaslighting is so severe that you're going to question whether or not you're even alive. You're going to question whether or not you're sitting where you are. You're going to question everything about the world around you, because nothing is what it seems anymore. They've lied to us so much that to separate truth from fantasy is almost impossible. And that brings me to my final point. Amidst all this insanity that we're seeing, amidst all the lies and distractions, is this Green New Deal thing going on? So while everyone is focused, and rightfully so, on Julian Assange, who blew the lid off of so many things through WikiLeaks, once again, like all the mass shootings that occur at exactly the wrong time or the right time, depending on your perspective, once again, a major catastrophe has happened that pulls away the progressives from focusing on fighting for what it is that they want and need. They are now swept up in what is duty-bound to fight for Julian Assange. You got no choice, you gotta. Which sucks away energy, which sucks away focus, which sucks away conviction, which sucks away time and energy from fighting for a Green New Deal. And folks, remember the timeline, 11 years now. It was 12, we're down to 11 years to take dramatic action on the climate. We're not talking about making decisions. We're talking about actually making change. So if our goal is not to handle both the Julian Assange thing and a Green New Deal and get a progressive in the White House and get the people represented and, right? And. If that's not our goal, and if we lose sight of that goal, then we're going to lose sight of the even bigger lie that's been pulled over for as long as you and I have been alive, including people that are older than me, including people that are definitely younger than me. And that is how the money system works. They're still running bullshit about the country being broke and about it being irresponsible to serve the people, about it being irresponsible to provide health care, about it being irresponsible to provide green energy, about it being irresponsible to wipe out student debt. I'm going to tell you, I spoke with Alan Nasser, a beautiful soul, a great man, wrote the book, An Overripe Economy. Look it up. It's worth the read. And he talks about disaccumulation. Now, I sat there and I had an interview with him. You can find it on our podcast, Macro and Cheese. It's at www.macron, and look for The Overripe Economy with Alan Nasser. And you'll hear what I'm talking about. But there is so much capital accumulation at the top that they, instead of being able to invest in things for the little people, so to speak, you know, the whole concept behind trickle down and all the capitalistic ideas, all of that investment is up at the top. They've gotten to the point now where all they can do, there's so much money they can't possibly spend it. So what have they done? They've decided to financialize it. They've done stock buybacks. They've done all sorts of stuff. And these stock buybacks are putting the economy in such a travesty of disastrous crisis situation coming up. We're talking about the worst, way worse than the last crisis. Student debt peaking at $1.5 trillion. No job guarantee, no nothing there. And they know it. Folks, they know it, and they know it in spades. And that's why all these gaslighting techniques they're using are keeping you distracted from what these other things are. I'm not telling you not to focus. I'm telling you, you got to broaden your focus. You got to pay attention to the money. Follow the fucking money. You got to understand the flows, the stocks and flows. You've got to see what's going on. And there is an economic meltdown getting ready to occur. They've convinced people that this gig economy with 3.2% unemployment is somehow or another good, when in reality, what they're not looking at, because they don't know to look at it and they don't care to look at it and they don't think about it, is that 3.2 is a gig economy. Many people haven't got even $100 in the bank for a rainy day, much less $500, much less a month. Most of the economy is propped up on private debt, which has a shelf life, which has a bubble bursting date. And all this stuff going on around us is happening beneath the covers because it's just too complicated for folks to pay attention to. They don't want to. They want to worry about Julian Assange because that's something they wrap their eyes and arms and ears and head around. And while they wrap it, rightfully so, around Julian Assange, the economy is going to hell in a worst possible way. And when these bubbles burst, there's going to be a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of destruction. And there's going to be a lot of suicides because that's what happens with mass unemployment. And it's coming. Folks, unless we do something about it, take my word for it, don't take my word for it. But this is like walking out into the ocean right before a tsunami. You see all the conch shells. You're all excited, feeling all cool about it, grabbing these things. And before you have a chance to get back to the inland, which wouldn't matter anyway because you're going to get killed either way, you're out so far because you don't realize it, that when the wall of water comes crashing down, you didn't have a prayer. We don't have a prayer. And folks, if we don't get our arms wrapped around it and our brains wrapped around it, that's what's coming to a household near you. And the people that think they're 1 inch above the pig slop, they're not going to miss it this time. When the bubble hits, it's not just regular people this time. It's businesses that have doubled and tripled their debt, quadrupled their debt, investing in stock buybacks. Our entire economy is based on financialization of finance, refinancing finance. And it busts. And when it busts, when the levee breaks, when it busts, folks, so just remember, while they got you distracted, and they do, while you're busy talking about how bad Bernie Sanders is, blah, 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 and you're missing the bigger picture. We got a very, very short window of time here, and we've got a very, very huge wall of water getting ready to crush us all if we don't act. The climate coming one direction and an economic destruction coming the other direction from some huge bubbles bursting. There's no prayer in hell people are going to be able to pay back that student loan debt. No prayer. And I can tell you right now with the stock buybacks coming, and there's nowhere near enough money going into the hands of regular people, and there's not enough full employment, not real employment, and there's not a just transition for these industries that are getting ready to go out of business. Folks, without a Green New Deal and that job guarantee, student debt forgiveness, etc., you ain't seen nothing yet. You'll be tempted to ignore economic posts and economic articles. You'll be tempted to talk about MMT being a cult. And that would be you out there standing in the beach, pretending that wall of water's not coming for you, when in reality it is. It's coming for all of us. But sadly, because you decided to ignore it, you didn't really give us a hand, so we all have to die for that. Bravo, well played. But in the meantime, folks, it's time to get serious. Alternative media is under attack. Regular media is under attack. The free press is under attack. Our ability to decipher real from fiction is under attack. We don't have most information about most things. We're lied to constantly. But the one thing that we can have some control over is understanding how the economic system works and fighting for the one candidate that actually has the people backing him that know it too, and that's Stephanie Kelton. So with that, I'm Steve Grumbine. I hope you guys learned something tonight. I hope you had some fun, and I'm going to go ahead and close this on out. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.